In the webinar that you are about to watch, the founder of Elevate Market Research, Nicole Bergen, and I talk all about video. Why does video help people absorb and learn more? Why are we seeing it connect and convert more deals from a marketing perspective? And how can we help you overcome that uncomfortability of having to just jump on video and do it? Take a look and enjoy. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hop in here. You know how it is. I always give a couple of minutes here just to kind of let everybody jump in, get the technical stuff taken care of. I'm more excited about this webinar than I've been for a very long time. So if you're somebody that comes to our webinars a lot, thanks for coming back, first and foremost. But I am absolutely thrilled, not only about the content, but about our guests that I'm going to introduce in a little bit here. But I'm going to wait because I want as many people to hop in here as I possibly can. We've already got some chat going. Roberto, thank you for jumping in and starting that. If you're here, jump in chat. Let us know where you're from. Let us know maybe what your video journey is. Give us a little bit about you. It's always fun to hear kind of where everybody is from. We've got people literally from all over the country that show up to these. We've got so many wonderful Canadians that jump in. It's just fun to kind of see. So, we got the Crab State. We got some Maryland. We got East Coast. We got people all over the place. Okay, so here's rule of thumb. We always talk about this from a technical standpoint. In our webinars, we get a lot of people, which is wonderful. As you can see in chat right now, it can get a little crazy. It can get going pretty fast. So use chat. Absolutely use chat. It's a great opportunity for you to throw some questions in, throw things that are really good for the community as a whole. Because we've got so many people here, we've already got over 200 people hopped in here within the first 2 minutes. So we'll get more. Use these people. There's so much expertise in this chat room in ways that they're using video. There's so much cool stuff you can learn from them. So that's a great way to jump in and use the chat. If you've got a question that you're going, man, I really don't want Kevin and Nicole to miss this, throw it in the Q&A. It's just a great place. Am I going to get to every single one of those? Maybe. It depends on how many we get, but it's a really good place where I can kind of monitor that stuff much more effectively than I can chat, just because there's a little bit more organization as far as that goes. So I've got my QA open. If you've got specific questions, really poignant questions, throw it in the Q&A. Otherwise, chat is a great place. I saw some people from all over the country. I also saw Guatemala. I saw, where else did I see outside of the country? I think I saw somewhere else. We always get some wonderful people up in Canada too. So thank you all for being here. My gosh, I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for the summer weather. I am soaking this stuff in. So with that being said, the only other thing housekeeping wise that I don't want to forget, and I know we'll get asked this again, absolutely we're recording this. We are recording this. It will be recorded and sent out to you guys. Give us a couple of days to get that recording to you. Or you can always find it on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and just search BombBomb, we always put our recordings up there. And they're always on our website too, bombbomb.com/webinar. So just know if you miss anything, if you've got to jump early, whatever it is, I know we are going over a lot of stuff. We always do. Don't hesitate. We'll record it. You can always review that as needed. So without further ado, those of you that have been here for a long time are seeing a new face. You're seeing somebody that you may not actually recognize that much. And before I share the slides, I want to introduce her. Nicole Bergen, full name. We met years and years ago, just through some BombBomb stuff. And then she popped in my mind when I was going through some videos. We retouched base a couple months ago and I went, wow, what an amazing opportunity for us to learn. So Nicole, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is
I'm
going to be
so
fun. Yes.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be here and talk about video. We've had so many conversations about this, Kevin. Such a great tool to get your image, your story, your brand out there. Excited to be part of the conversation.
So Nicole, while we're doing this, just again, while we're on the screens and everything, give us a little bit of background about you, maybe a little bit of how
Sure.
you have started using video, got introduced to it, and then kind of tell us the realm you're in, just to give people that.
Sure. Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I'm Nicole Bergen. I run a market research and strategy firm called Elevate, growwithelevate.com. You can come check us out. My specialty is helping brands connect with their customers, helping people connect across the camera, whether that be in a more polished way, like on television, or in a more simplified way, like this across screens, and just helping them be their raw, authentic self across those screens and connecting with people. At the end of the day, we just want to connect with each other, right? It's human nature. So I'm a fractional CMO for hire. I help brands implement marketing strategy. I also do consumer research to understand what the trends are, what's doing well, and helping my clients and customers connect with their desired customers, right? Using that data, those insights, and that experience. So it's fun. I get to be a spokesperson coach sometimes, helping people across the screen, Kevin,
Nice.
and in more formal settings and in more informal settings. But video has always been a really powerful tool for me personally, and I see it in the data when we ask people, consumers. Where are they most likely to be influenced to buy a product or service? What do they say? Video, right? Video is the most powerful tool to influence. Why? Because it combines sight, sound, motion, and emotion. You can see it in my eyes, in my face, and my expressions, and you connect with people when you can feel them. And that's what video offers. So I've always been a huge fan of it. The data supports it. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited about that too, because obviously, those of you that have been here a lot, I talk a lot from the emotional standpoint of it feels really good in a lot of ways, just because that's where my heart and brain connect to. And I think Nicole's going to bring an amazing perspective of the data and numbers and information. And from a marketing perspective, right? You're all sitting there, regardless of what industry you're in, you need to market something, whether it's yourself or your product or your company or whatever it may be. And so she's going to bring a lot of that knowledge. So, point. We're getting to the meat. I promise. We're not avoiding that. Just want to give you a little bit of context as to why you're listening to us, why we're the ones that are sitting here talking today. So here's what we're going to cover. And I'm going to kind of skip through this because we already did this, but here's the agenda. We're going to actually introduce and start talking about video on a cognitive level. This is something that I've heard about, but Nicole, you really introduced this to me. And so we're going to expand on that and we're going to really discuss why, not just telling you that video is effective, but why is it effective? Then we're going to talk directly on how are people using video in marketing right now to connect and convert. Because the connection is part of the process, but we can connect with a million people and not actually sell more product, right? So we've got to make sure that we're using it in that conversion as well. And then one of the amazing things that Nicole brought to my attention as well, as somebody who started a company and is a fractional CMO for other companies around the country here, is how do we actually use it to lead? How do we use it to save time, be efficient? So for those of you that are in a company, maybe you've got one other person that you work with. There's still amazing ways to think about this and kind of use that. So don't freak out and go, oh, that's not going to be helpful for me. I don't have 50 people that I work with. That's okay. These are still things that will help you save time, you be more efficient, and work from there. And then last but not least, we're gonna kind of talk about the elephant in the room. You know, I love this topic, but it's a big one. I was on a meeting on Monday with people and I was making people turn their cameras off in Zoom and record videos. And one woman came back and she was like, that was the worst thing I've had to do in weeks. I hated that. And I was like, thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. That's where we got to start, is by being real about it. And Nicole's going to bring just an awesome element to that I can't bring, and some different perspectives. So with that being said, Nicole, I do think I have a screen about you. We've already kind of heard
Oh,
you, so I'm not going to make you sit and look at yourself for too long here. Other than there's some really cool stuff for those of you that just want to know a little bit more about her. I was looking through LinkedIn and through talking with you and finding that you're just so passionate about women in leadership and autism awareness and some of those amazing things. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to give you her LinkedIn at the end. Connect with her. She puts up so much amazing value and things that we can go there. So let's jump in, because I want to make sure that we're using this hour wisely. And I usually get to the end of it and I'm like, oh crap, I got to scramble through because I talked too much at the beginning. Cognitive load theory. I want to give you a brief overview of what cognitive load theory is. And then Nicole, I'm going to let you kind of run with this because I know this is something that is you're really passionate about. For those of you that have never heard this before or don't know what it is, here's kind of a basic overview. It was pioneered by John Sweller. And it's basically saying that our working memory has limited capacity and that if you overload it, it's not going to allow us to learn. I think we sort of understand that. We all get that if I get overwhelmed, I'm not taking in anymore. Or if I'm given too much information, I'm not taking any more. But what's interesting about the cognitive load theory is they start diving into how do we design instruction in order to be absorbed in a way that people can actually take it on, that will not overwhelm as much. And so it's talking a lot about maximizing that process. There's multiple elements to this. There are some more, I think there's 3 or 4 different types of load that they talk about in the cognitive load. But these are the ones that I think are the most important for what we're talking about with video today. Intrinsic load is basically just the difficulty of what we're trying to teach, right? There's some stuff, if I'm trying to learn calculus, I haven't learned that in 25 years. That's going to take a lot of work for me right now. I don't know math at all at this point. Versus if I'm learning the ABCs, I know that. That's going to take less, right? And then there's also extraneous cognitive load, which is the load generated by the way the material is presented. So that's what we're going to be talking a ton about with video itself. Nicole, you had mentioned this to me when we brought up cognitive load initially about the different learning styles. Talk to me about what you've learned about this and how you've used it from your research and how you guys are using it with your company with the marketing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've all been to school, right? Think about the classes that you took in college that you remember that were memorable to you. Was it an instructor just talking at you for an hour? Probably not, right? There's a reason for that because the most memorable educators are the ones that bring in group work, their auditory, their visual. There's lots of different components to educating or cementing a thought, something you're trying to teach, right? And we're all trying to teach something. We're trying to sell something, we're trying to demo something, right? We're using video to do that. So something I think is a really important basis, Kevin, is that 65% of America is visual learning first. Okay. When you leave voicemails or you write emails, that's not really visual, right? Video brings that visual emotional component. Then there's the auditory piece. There's reasons why brands have sonic messages. For example, ba da ba ba ba. Know the name? Do you know the company, Kevin?
McDonald's, of course.
There
That's
you
easy.
go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or ding, it's now safe to walk about the cabin. You know that one?
Oh, I mean, it's gonna be an airline. I don't know which one.
That's right.
Is it American?
Southwest.
Delta? Ah, so
Southwest.
I got you.
Southwest. Ding. It's now safe to walk around the cabin. So you're seeing a resurgence of auditory tones and things like that come back into messaging because when you combine the visual, the audio, right? And then there's the kinesthetic. So in education, that's touch and feel and the emotion. So these are foundational principles in cementing a learning a thought, right? And video brings these things together. So it makes sense when you think about cognitive load theory, when I'm trying to communicate a message, a story, explain something to someone, that video would be a really effective way to cement that in the permanent memory because it pulls on all three of these things.
Yeah,
Make sense?
somebody wrote in chat too, Robert, that kinesthetic is kind of the learning by doing mentality, right?
Yes.
And we're going to
Yes.
talk about this a little bit as well with ways people are utilizing video, right? Some stats and stuff on that. I laugh all the time because I go to YouTube and will watch videos on like, oh, here's how you change a timing belt in a car. I'm not a mechanic in the slightest, but I'm like, oh, I can do that now, right? Because I watched the video. I felt like I could learn and do it as I was watching this video and kind of engage. So it really does. Now, I do want to challenge a little bit. I found this graphic with these stats and things as I was doing research. You had mentioned to me, Nicole, that auditory is actually the lowest learning from.
That's
Was
right.
that from research you had done? Because I always want to challenge us and have discussions around that. We have been taught and went to school and only learned through hearing. So much of our learning growing up, at least mine was listening to a teacher. So where did you
Right.
kind of pick that up? I just want to challenge these numbers that I found as well.
So at Elevate, I'm fortunate in that we test about 1,000 ads a year, right? All over the country. So we test radio messages, TV messages, direct mail, like all kinds of different messages. And we see routinely when you talk about recall, the content in the messaging, where do people more likely remember?
Hmm.
It's not audio. Typically, it's has a visual component, it has an auditory component, and it has an emotional component. Video always tests better than everything else.
Okay, so
So,
that's super important to hear. So Nicole, when she had mentioned it to me, was saying that auditory is kind of the least memorable of the ones. Right now, we all knew those jingles and we knew some of those things, but that's important because she's talking from a marketing perspective. So keep that in mind. As you were talking about that, I was even thinking about like movie trailers. Somebody had written in there of I like hearing from natural voices way more than something that feels like it's been prepped and is a voiceover and those type of things. And it's funny because I was thinking about movie trailers, 15, 20 years ago, there was so much of the like in a world, right? And I don't remember seeing that at all anymore. It feels like that's shifted. Not that there aren't some for action movies and things, but
yeah.
it feels like
But
there's.
COVID changed that. Let's just be real, right? Like the way we marketed products pre-COVID, we got away with a lot of that BS.
Mm.
Nowadays, like people are looking for that more authentic, raw authentic, right? conversation, that's where you see the explosion of TikTok and YouTube are the fastest growing search engines for a reason. Video tutorials. You just said, what was it? You were learning how to fix something in your car or whatever
Oh
by
yeah.
watching a YouTube video. Right. And so it makes sense. We were kind of broken through COVID and just skeptical, and we were washing our groceries. And then we came out of it and it's like, okay, the whole polished, now in the earth there will be, that whole kind of maybe it works in movie trailers a little bit, but like
Yeah,
brands that are doing that, you're seeing a lot less interaction with that content.
sure.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about Apple ads, and they're just a good one too that I think of a lot. All of their stuff is so emotionally driven. It's clips of people, it's clips of how it's living in people's lives, and I feel like they've maybe been a forefront in a lot of that for a long time, but it's just kind of proof to that. So here's some things
Yeah.
just to reiterate some of the elements that you get on video that really play into the CLT, the cognitive load theory. Some just different elements, just to name them. I think we can go, oh yeah, I see and I hear all of those things. But what are some verbal sound cues that really bring in that emotional connection? Your tone. What we don't get that with text. We're not going to get that with written elements. The pace that we speak with, the volume, pauses and things. When Nicole, I'm sure when you're coaching people, we're talking about these things. We're helping coaching people how to utilize these things because speaking quickly can be really effective at times. When you actually stop and take a pause, everybody goes, oh, what's coming next, right? There's different ways to use these elements. Now, from a visual standpoint, of course, the posture that you're sitting with. There's some really interesting stuff with the distance, right? We all understand that there's normal social distances when we're in person. I have not always thought about is that those are very much in play on video as well, right? If I'm sitting right here when you guys hop in the webinar, you're gonna be like, whoa, dude, get out of my space. I'm obviously not anywhere near you, but you feel that. And so we've got to make sure that we're using like the proper framing and distancing and some of those sort of things. And then, of course, eye contact. I think that's one of the hardest thing I see with new people jumping into this style of video is learning how to make eye contact on camera. I
And
know,
can I pause
yeah,
you on that one? Because I
please.
think that's such an important one, that the data is very clear on this point. Trust is built through the eyes. If I can't
Mm,
see you, I don't trust you. It's very easy to just dismiss an email or a text message but if I see a person looking into the camera, trying to connect with me, like, hey, Kevin, it's Nicole. I'm going to demo this thing for you. Let me know what you think. And you see that passion and that energy, and you can look in my eyes and you trust me, right? I'm establishing that trust through the camera. So the eye contact is really key. I see people's LinkedIn photos. I'm not trying to call anyone out here. And I already looked at yours. You're good, Kevin. And
okay.
I'm good. But like, you want to see the eyes, people wearing sunglasses. Like the first thing I would do if I'm coaching someone in video is like lose the sunglasses. Like if I can't see your eyes, I don't trust you. Or if you're too far
Mm,
away or you're looking to the side too much, like
yeah.
it's those little cues that we like don't really think about, but think about it.
Yeah.
Eye contact means trust.
Yeah, it's wild what our brains are picking up when we're not even realizing it, right? All of the things that we're processing that we're not aware that we're processing. So it's good to keep in mind some of those things. And then I think the kinesthetic, I think, is the hardest one to go, is this in play with video? But absolutely it is to a degree, right? The motion, the hands, the way we move. Of course, they're taking that in visually as well, but I use my hands a ton when I talk. Sometimes it's way too much, and I get a little crazy with that. But all of these
I
things are cues
also
that we're taking in.
I would also say by doing, right? One of the
Mm,
things that I underutilized with this tool in the beginning was the ability to demo things. Like hop on the client's website and be like, hey, Mr. Personal Injury Firm, like I'm on your website and I'm clicking around and I'm showing them, looks like this is broken. You might want to fix that. And so doing it, right? Showing them something in the video is helping them do it, right? Then they
yeah,
can replicate it on their end or forward it to someone in their organization. Hey, fix this. Instead of me just coming on and going, hey, by the way, I was on your website and this was broken. You should probably fix that.
yeah,
Instead, doing the little screen in feature, right? Where they're showing the screen and going, here, I'm on your website. Look, I'm doing this and you should probably fix that, right?
yeah.
That's going to cement in the permanent memory because you got the visual, the doing, and the hearing.
Yeah, I love that. And for those of you that are not users of BombBomb, we have a screen record option as well, where you can do exactly what Nicole's saying. It's basically what I'm doing on Zoom right here. You can have your video, so your face is there, and show a window or your entire desktop or whatever. My recommendation, just side note, always have your video on for those. We want them to associate us with that knowledge and with that information and that explanation, not just hearing our voice. We want them to have those visual elements. So I understand sometimes that's harder, and we'll talk about that. We're getting there, but let's keep going. So one of the things I always throw in there as well, there's different studies about this, about the amount of communication that's nonverbal. There was a study in like I think the 60s that came out that says 93% of communication is nonverbal. I don't know that that's totally accurate. Even they have put stipulations on that since then. But this is some kind of the range that I have found. And I really just bring this up to show you more than anything. If you're sending the text message, if you're sending a text email or whatever it may be, there's just so much that's missing from that. We're not allowing them to take in from the cognitive load standpoint. And really, that leads us in so much to how are we going to use this to actually connect? I think one, we just talked to you why it's going to connect because of that. But Nicole, talk through some of these strategies because I think these are some things that you brought to light to me that I'm learning, and I love learning new stuff as well. So, one spot, one thought was something that you introduced me to. Explain that to us.
So, in order to cement like one thing, and we do this in when we're writing commercials for a client, right? You see the NASCAR ads. I'm just going to relate it to marketing world if that's okay.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's like we have quality workmanship and we're there next day and there's a sale and there's like seven different value props squeezed into this like 15-second or 30-second ad. And then when you ask consumers after they're exposed to the stimulus, like, do you recall any of these things? How many of them do you think they remember?
Okay.
None, right?
Okay.
So when in marketing, a lot of times we say, like, I would rather you do three different 15-second ads about one thing. So do one 15-second message about quality. How does your company deliver on that promise? And just talk about that.
Mm,
Your second one is going to be about, your timeliness and how you can get to the customer quickly and what that means as a benefit to them. And then your third one's going to be about a sale or whatever, right?
okay.
So one thought, one spot stems from the idea that if you're going to send someone a video or you're producing something to a customer base or whatever, keep it to one thought, right? What is my purpose of this video drop? Try not to squeeze a bunch of
Mm,
NASCAR things into one because they're not going to process it. Better to put together three or four smaller videos about individual topics and drop them as needed than trying to squeeze, a 90-second video with a bunch of different stuff in
sure.
it. You're just not going to cement the learning when you put too much in there.
Okay, that
Does that
totally
help?
makes sense. Yeah. Now, to play devil's advocate a little bit, let's say somebody's sitting there going like, "Well, I only have money for one spot. I can only do one thing." Is there a max number of things that you recommend from a retention standpoint? I mean, I know from like my teaching standpoint the numbers that I stick to, but what have you guys found from that angle?
So in that situation, I use a 80-20 rule. And so 80% is like brand positioning or like storytelling, and 20% is call to action. So
Okay.
typically, if you're running a strategy like that with a video execution in that 80%, you might be able to get two hooks.
Okay. There you go. So, good rule of thumb. Ultimately, what we want you to hear from this is don't feel like you need to cram everything you bring to the table into one message because ultimately that makes people retain literally nothing.
Nothing.
They walk away overwhelmed and overloaded. And going back to the cognitive load, right? It's just too much. It's too much for their brains to be able to take in and actually remember it. So, I think that's amazing. Now, I love this next bullet point because it's a little funny, but expand on that. I mean, this sort of fits with the one spot, one thought, right? We got to talk to people in the simplest format there, but tell us more about this of what you mean by the third grader.
You just have to talk like a third grader. It's the bottom line. If you look at the data, and I've seen tons of data on this, like you look at sequencing in sales and message dropping, messages that are written at third grade level are more likely to be responded to than 10, 11, and 12th grade level. However, the
Hmm.
average salesperson and or marketer, marketers are guilty of this too, Kevin, tends to try to use more complicated language to sound smart, and speaks at a really high level that doesn't make sense. And buzzwords, right? That's another one. Like the whole the cross-channel marketing equation that I recommend for synergy across, like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Here's the bottom line. You don't have a lot of money. There's three options for you. This is what I recommend. Should we have hop on a call and talk about it? I'll do a budget audit for you and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, just say it, third grade level. And ChatGPT or AI is a great tool for this. Like, if you're not sure, if you're at, like, I do that a lot. I like, hey, here's what I'm thinking about talking about, throw it in ChatGPT and say, prompt it, hey, rewrite this as if I'm talking to a third grader. Literally, that's the prompt. And it will rewrite it and now make this more conversational.
Hmm.
So, you want it to be at third grade level. You're not dumbing it down, Kevin. You're just making it simple.
Yeah.
CEOs, business owners, these guys that I talk to, I'm talking to them before 8 a.m., after 5 p.m. I'm getting one sentence email replies. They're
Yeah.
busy. You
Yeah.
want to garner an audience with them and or a consumer who's got a device in their hand, a TV in front of them, a laptop. There's all these. Do you know that the average consumer, I was speaking at something the other day, I looked this up. The average consumer sees 1,000 advertising messages a day. 1,000
Jeez. I mean, I
per
believe
day
it.
from the time you wake up to the time you put your head down. And you're used to, like, back in the day in advertises, like the frequency of three, like you tell them three times. And no, no, no. The average number of touch points it takes now to convince someone to buy a product or service is 21 touch points,
I didn't know that.
right?
That's wild.
You gotta simplify it. Like,
Yeah.
speak to them as simply as possible. We all know
Mhm.
you're smart. You don't need to prove it using SAT words.
Yeah, I think that's something we talk about a lot. I think people sometimes overload on the I've got to show my competence versus I've got to show my warmth and delay this in a way that can be received well. And I think that's exactly what you're speaking to is, you're going to display your competence by you have that knowledge. You don't need to prove that. Do it in a way that they can actually absorb it and understand it. That's going to allow them to even understand your competence. Here's my example. Whenever I go to webinars or read stuff, one of my biggest pet peeves in business stuff are acronyms. The amount of acronyms people throw out there, and I spend half my time Googling, I don't even know what this is. What am I? Now I'm not paying attention at all because you threw out a
Oh
bunch
my
of acronyms
God.
and didn't describe them, right? So,
Right? I was seriously on a pitch with Amazon Prime Video. I love those guys. I love you if you're on this call. But I swear there was one slide that, no joke, I counted 7 acronyms. And I just, like, stopped the presentation. I was like, listen, I don't speak Amazon. Can you break this down for me like a third grader? What
yep,
the heck does that mean?
yep. And that's fine too, right? If you're doing a training or a video, if it's like a one-to-one, you're not going to necessarily put acronyms in a commercial and then explain them. But like CLT is a
Right.
perfect example of that. I'm not just going to go, let's talk about CLT and leave it like that the whole time. Introduce it, explain it so that people don't have to do the work and understand that. So
And
I love that.
even basic stuff like KPI. Like, I
Mhm.
made the mistake, like, people know what KPI, key performance indicator. So I always, in my emails, my videos, I'm like, first time I say it, I'm like, KPI, key performance indicator. And then I just keep saying KPI after that. But at least I
Yeah.
established, like, in case they didn't know what it meant.
Yep. Or CTA is a big one, a call to action. I was doing a training the
Yes.
other day and totally missed that. I missed the explanation. And somebody's like, hey, will you explain what a CTA is? I was like, I am so sorry. That's on me that I made you struggle
Yeah.
with that. So just because it's normal and you're used to it does not mean anybody else is, does not mean people
Okay.
outside of your industry are there. All right, let's hit on this one because
This
I think
next
this is
one.
a big
Okay.
one. The imperfect
This
action is
is
better than no action. Go.
it's one of my favorites because, especially being a woman, I'm just going to be super, like, I got a little zit right here on my cheek. I'm jumping on this webinar anyway, right? Like, imperfect action is better than no action. And that is something, just write it on a post-it note, put it on your
Hmm.
computer. We're all trying to do a lot, right? Just put yourself out there when it comes. And there's so much hesitation about this, particularly with women, because of the makeup and the hair and all this stuff, and we want to be perfect, and the media is making us feel like we need to be perfect. Maybe men too. Sorry, I'm not trying to be. I know when I coach women, they tend
Yeah.
to be a lot more self-critical. And I'm just like, listen, imperfect action is better than no action. Your analysis paralysis, right? Don't sit there and watch your video 70 times. Just effing send it.
Yep.
Just do it.
Nine times out of 10,
Just
that
do it.
70th take is not a whole lot better than that first take,
It's
if
not.
any better, right?
And like there was this one, I remember I was on a Friday, Kevin, and I just like I needed to connect with this customer. And I was in my company, we do hoodie Fridays, as you know, we met on a Friday one time. And my hair's in a ball cap and I'm wearing a hoodie and I think I went to yoga that morning or something like that. Not my best self. But I hopped on the video anyway because I'm like, look, if I don't do this today, I'm just not going to do it next week.
Mhm.
I'm too stacked. So I'm going to address the elephant in the room. So I hop on the video. I'm like, hey, it's Nicole. Excuse the hoodie and the hair. It's Hoodie Friday here. So listen, the reason and I just moved past it. And the
Yeah.
person like replied back like, "Oh my God, that's so cool that you have a Hoodie Friday."
Hmm.
So just do it.
I think that's a great point too of we never know what's going to connect with the recipient. You never know what is something that they will understand or connect with. I've had the funniest things brought up, and most of the time they were things that if I was trying to do a perfect video, I would have changed. Uh, and I think that's so fascinating. I mean, I've had situations where like literally I'm recording a video and my kid runs into frame and they're like, "Hey," and then they run off and
Hmm.
go do their thing. And if I laugh about it and like, oh, I'm sorry, kids are home from school, that's the
Or
thing
the
people
dog.
comment on. Or the dog,
Yeah.
yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, your kids are so cute. Thanks for reaching out, right?
Hmm.
And it's now we're talking about the authenticity, the ability to build that real connection with people. And I think
So
that's
funny story,
so good.
funny story in advertising, if you have a dog or a kid in the commercial, you're more likely to have a higher score than a
Oh, I
commercial without
believe
a
it.
kid or a dog.
Yep.
Fact.
We used to joke all the time, or our CMO used to do speeches all the time, and he'd be like, "Oh, by the way, if you need, just go to www.rentakid.com." Like, because yes, it works. People connect with the wonder of kids and pets and things. And honestly, this kind of leads into the next point here. Oops. Um, Talk a little bit about, was there anything else to add in the ad testing stuff, or was that, have you guys seen the results of more personal anecdotes and some of those sort of things? Talk on that bullet point because I think this is fascinating. You were talking about this from a leader perspective as well, but talk about what you're seeing from that angle.
So, I started to see this shift about 2 years ago, and there was this guy in, what's his name? He was in Detroit area. He's like an auto dealer,
Okay.
and I'll think of his name in a minute. And anyway, the gist of it was like all the dealer ads you see, right? Like, come on down, we're gonna get a good
Yeah.
deal, and this and that.
Yep.
And he did this one ad where it was like this setting. I'm going to try to mimic him right now. And he's like looking to the side and he's looking into the camera like he's in an interview. It's just him in the showroom. No frills, nothing fancy. He's like, listen, I'm so and so. This is my email address. I'm going to give you the best deal here. I sit on the showroom floor. Come in and I'm going to help you get you the car. That's what we do here.
Hmm.
There was no fancy graphics or, you know, stuff blowing up on the screen. And, I've seen the dealer ads where the guys are throwing footballs across the lot, all these gimmicks,
Sure.
just straight talk, right? And this is how it's going to work here. Now
Yeah.
you see it too. I had a roofing company in Florida, Kevin, and they tested. I'm not going to name the name to protect their privacy, but the owner, right, thought his daughter, who was very pretty, thought she could be the voice and the face of the brand.
Okay.
Okay. So we tested her and then we tested the sales guy, Derek, this kind of chubbier, funny looking, cool dude named Derek. And he's the guy that like shows up at your house and gives you the estimate, right?
Hmm.
Who do you think tested better?
Well, I'm guessing it's Derek at this point with the
Yeah. Right. Because it's okay. He's a little chubby and like he's the guy. Like the customers in the test saw those two people and were like, that's the guy that's probably going to show up at my house. Like I believe him.
Yeah.
She's and I see it in the chat. People are talking about this.
Hmm.
You're right, guys. Like the whole super polished video is overplayed.
Yeah.
So people want those personal anecdotes, those stories. We see it when I'll give you an example. I think I told you about this one earlier. There was a dental like two teeth in a day, right? Like you need to get your new teeth or whatever.
Hmm.
And they're like trying to talk about the science of it. And we got all this tech and look at how we're going to fix your teeth. And then this other ad that we tested did really well. I think it was from Clear Choice. This lady comes on camera and she goes, I can eat corn again. about it. Like as a consumer, like that is an anecdote. Like, oh, I can relate to that. I miss eating corn. And this lady had this whole process done of these new
Yeah.
teeth, and now she can eat corn again. So think about how you can relate to people in your video storytelling.
Mm,
More anecdotes, more stories. Like bring it's kind of like buying shoes. You know how da 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 like bring it back to things that people can relate
yeah.
to.
Yeah. Somebody
That
even mentioned
makes
earlier, I don't remember who it was in chat, but even the best salespeople are using stories. They're using anecdote. They're using these elements. They said it even before we brought this bullet point up. We want to relate, we want to connect, we want to understand, and that's how we do it. It's not by trying to teach me the science of what a veneer is. It's me going, oh, how is this going to change the way I live my daily life? How is this going to affect me from that standpoint? And I think, and I'll throw these up there just as we kind of finish off this portion of the conversation. I think this is why people are engaging so much, is because all of the cognitive load theory, all of the elements that we can absorb, but also all of these things that we feel. I think that emotional element of it is massively impactful as well. And that's why we're seeing crazy numbers like these, just massive amount of hours. A lot of times when I show people this, the 17 hours is the average amount of online videos watched per week. I've had people scoff at that and be like amateurs. Like that's probably the bottom of the barrel for some people because we live on these things. You said we'll sit, have a TV show on, have this open, and have our laptop on all at the same time. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of stuff going on. So the ability to connect and make eye contact and really hit on some of those cognitive elements, I think is so great. So there are so many different. If you want to scroll up a little bit, anybody that's in chat right now, we had one way to say it, but there's so many other ways that people are putting out there. Done is better than perfect. Don't let the perfect get in the way of the good. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones. There's so many ways to think about it, but just know, one, we're never going to get a perfect video. There is zero situation where that will ever happen. There's always going to be something, and know that those elements are what make you authentic and connect with people. It's and they're testing better per Nicole's notes and those sort of things. So let's talk about this from an efficiency standpoint, a leading standpoint. And I do want to address something
yes.
real quick before I jump into this because we did have a QA come in from DR who's a guest jumping in. Thanks for being here. And they actually called something out that I think is cool to let's be a little vulnerable on this. He goes, I really am liking the bullet points. You guys are talking about how over 60% of learning is visual. And all I'm doing right now is staring at this animated preview that's looping while you guys are talking. What's this strategy? What am I missing? Honestly, DR, I think I missed the ball a little bit on making that slide of putting something that's distracting and didn't allow you to really take in the bullet points and be able to focus on what we were doing. So in full vulnerability, like I'm missing it too. I'm trying to put all these things in play. I put up the GIF, and there's another one here that you're staring at. So I hope this one doesn't kill you at all. There are times that we're going to miss the ball and we're going to learn from it as well. And so I appreciate you giving that note. I don't want to just go like, oh, that was hidden in QA. We're not going to address it. Let's talk about it. That was a distracting thing for him. And now I have something to learn from as we kind of move from it too. I like a little bit of movement. I think that brings me in, but I have to understand there's different learning styles and stuff. So with that, let's jump to efficiency. Let's talk about this. Nicole, you pick maybe some of the bullet points that make sense to you and that you really connect with. What are ways that you're using this within your company and ways that it's helping you lead internally with the things you're trying to do?
I'm gonna just go straight for number one
Go for
because
it.
I really love this point, and as a leader, this is extremely efficient for me. For someone that has sometimes 7 or 8 Zoom calls a day, I have a hard time getting to my employees, and sometimes to my CEOs, because they have weird hours, and I need to explain something to them. It is faster and more efficient for me as a leader to film a video than it is to type out the answer because I can talk and do 3 to 4 times faster than I can type.
Hmm.
So, like, someone sends me an ad, Kevin. They're like, hey, can you critique this ad? Do you know how long it would take me to do screen grabs of every frame and then type bullet points
Yeah.
for what's wrong with that ad?
Yeah.
Instead, I hop on BombBomb. I do the screen record feature. They can see my face. I'm pointing to stuff. I'm in my hoodie. It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, I'm going to just quickly critique this ad for you. Let's put it up on the screen. Oh, yeah, right here, this lighting doesn't look good. Those warehouse lights, you guys need to cut that out.
Hmm.
I don't know what's going on over here. Fix that. And it takes me 3 minutes to do that. And I do it off the cuff. I don't have to type it all out. BombBomb has that cool thing with the transcription on the side, so you can copy and paste for people that want to be able to read what you said, or forward it to somebody and say, hey, pay attention to Nicole's notes at 12 seconds in. Here's the transcript of what she said or whatever. But like that would have taken me an hour and a half to type that all out.
Mm.
So now here's another example, like, and I'm just being real in leadership, right? Sometimes you got to have tough conversations with people. Well,
Yeah.
I don't really want to put that in an email or a text and it be misunderstood. My tone or inflection helps them understand where I'm coming from. So I might film a video and go like, "Hey team, listen, I'm not loving where we're at on this project right now. I got to be honest with you guys. I really appreciate that you've done this, this and this, but I really you need to focus on fixing these things." Right? So the three things that jump out to me are blank blank blank. All right, I hope
Yeah.
this was helpful. Have a great day. And so, right, if I tried to type that, Kevin, like it just wouldn't come across the same way. They can see my eyes, my compassion when I'm saying it, my tonality. It's an efficient tool for me as a leader to use video to communicate because
Mhm.
I could do it on my own time, late at night or whatever, and I send it. I could delay send it, whatever. It's efficient 3 to 4 times faster than I can type because writing, I just don't have time to write that many emails.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting kind of some elements just to piggyback on what you said. That having tough conversations is so true externally as well as it is internally, right? How many times do you have to deliver bad news or disappointing news to a client? We work with home builders that get delays on their homes. We work with realtors that have to drop a price $25,000 on a house. We have people that have lost a contract. We have, oh, sorry, I can't get you that deal I thought I could get you. How do you have those and have them relate to it? One of the things I've learned is no matter how well you type something and write something and the intention you put on it, they're going to put their tone and their position of whatever they're feeling that day when they read it. So if somebody's having a really bad day, they're going to put those elements and that emotion onto the words that you've typed. Being able to give the tone and the feel behind it that Nicole talked about is just a great way to emphasize, yeah, this sucks. This is not how I want to do this. You can show the empathy, you can show those pieces that are so impactful on that. And it's retaining more. And I love you kind of mentioned the asynchronous aspect of this type of video, which is great too, right? What if they're not available? I'm not available. What if we're working with people that have day jobs? What if you talked about, Nicole, I'm talking with people after 5 before 8. That's hard. They want to be with their families. They don't want to be talking business at those times. So the ability to record when it works for you and they can watch when it works for them, so helpful. That plays in some of those email pieces and some of those. And then one of the things we've seen with BombBomb, as COVID has had us expand so much out of Colorado where we originally were founded, is that element of being able to close distance, to close time zones, to build that connection when I can't be meeting with people, and really getting face to face with people that live in Virginia. Okay, I see them twice a year, but we feel like we know each other because we're using Zoom, we're using elements like this to kind of build that connection. So,
I've never met you in real life.
yeah, yeah. Nicole and I have only
And I,
talked on the phone or through Zoom or through this. So,
but
and
I feel
yet
like we're
we
friends.
Yeah, we jump on and we're like, hey, how are you? How are the kids? What's going on? We talk about those things because we're seeing all those added elements there. Now, another piece of this, and I'm just going to throw it out there. Karen Smith threw some really awesome stuff in chat that I want to talk about when we get to the kind of comfortability on camera pieces. Karen, thank you for your honesty and vulnerability and what you were throwing out there. She was talking about how she's been doing this a lot. She's got great tools. However, you get those trolls and those things. So, Nicole, I'm kind of saying this to us as something to file away when we get to that part of the conversation to talk about, because yeah, we can't control how people respond, and that's a hard element of this for sure. When we are talking with employees internally leading, the other element is this isn't just easier for us. The retention element of this is exponential, right? People are going to retain 95% of a video that they see compared to 10% when reading because of all that CLT, that cognitive load that we're able to take in, and we're training them in the right ways. Um, I have found really exponentially as I'm working through projects how much time this saves because of those retention elements, because I can be preemptive in the information I'm giving. When I'm able to use the screen record and walk them through, it's answering questions I don't know if they have, but I'm assuming they might. And it's also answering questions they don't even know they have. So the amount of back and forth messages, whether it's Slack, email, Oh my gosh, it just helps them retain, helps save so much time in those kind of elements. Have you seen that with your team as well? Just what they're able to retain. It's not just saving you time from efficiency, but it helps from that angle as well.
Oh, absolutely. And the efficiency of moving things forward because they can get feedback from me quicker when they can get it via video, right? So then it doesn't hold up the process. So they're like, okay, got these notes from Nicole. Let's make these changes. And here's the next set of notes from her. And so we're all able to move faster because we can do it at a time that's convenient for us, hop on the video real quick, explain X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Like I collaborate with brands on like upgrades to their website, working with the web developer. Hey,
Mm,
I'm on the demo site. Here's some things I don't like. Send it to the UK. Overnight, they're changing it. They send it back to me with their screen record video saying what they changed. And it's just like boom, boom, boom. It's very efficient
yeah. And
for both sides.
I just saw a chat come in. Eric was asking what CLT is again. See, here we go.
Oh,
This is us. Cognitive
cognitive
load
load
theory.
theory.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier with the ways that we learn, the visual, the audio, the audible, the kinesthetic, the different kind of learning types that video can really play to. So, let me scroll real quick and just see if there's any good questions to jump into before we jump into the wonderful topic that everybody wants to discuss all of the time is kind of what's holding us back. Um, I'm interested in your perspective on this because I have kind of my thoughts. But Nicole, there was a question in there of in Q&A of like, what additional equipment do I need to make a decent video?
Mm.
What's your perspective on this? I would love to hear what your thoughts are.
So imperfect action is better than no action, right? So let's start at the very basic level. Before you buy any equipment, get comfortable filming outside where there's good lighting. Stand in front of a bush, you've got natural daylight, grab an iPhone. You can film good quality videos with natural light or stand in front of a window in your house that has natural light, film selfie mode, and film videos. Just
Hmm.
start with that.
Yep.
Simple. Okay. If you want to go to the next level, I would say a microphone, a quality sound. And I did a if you go to my LinkedIn page, I did a LinkedIn live last week where I was talking about I tried to build a social media plan for on a $30 budget for a water company and I
Okay.
used ChatGPT to do it. You guys can go check it out. But in the beginning of that LinkedIn live, I was on Amazon showing people like you can get this mic that just magnets to your lapel for $20. $29 on Amazon. And just if you could get that, plug it into your iPhone, that improves your sound quality. I would say that's the first thing I would invest in is the microphone.
Yep. I think the
Because
quickest way.
you can fake lighting, right? You can fake lighting by standing in front of a window or going outside, but you can't fake sound. And if I can't hear you, right, that's going to be a big problem.
It's the
So
quickest way to get somebody to
$30.
turn a video off, right? If they're having
Yep.
to fight to hear you, and it could be something out of your control. Maybe there's traffic or wind or whatever. You're just in a loud office. It can be any of those things. People are not going to stick around when they can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
They will stick
So
around if
just
your picture quality is not amazing, right? So
yeah.
totally agree
So
with
just go to Amazon, lavalier mic, $30 or less. There's a billion of them. Grab
you. Yep.
one, plug it into your phone, and that's where I would start.
I,
After that, do you want me to keep going or stop there?
No, I think that's a good point. My general rule of thumb is never buy the technology to build the habit because I've never seen that
Mm,
work. 9 times out of 10, adding more elements and improving all the equipment is actually creating more hurdles for you to have to work through. Because then how does this connect? Does it work? Does it not? I've even bought a much nicer camera that I like to use. I had to figure out how to make that thing work, and it created a lot more hurdles for me originally to kind of get that to connect. So that's my general rule of thumb. It's, use what you've got, build the habit, and then it can excuse, oh, maybe I'm going to go spend 20 bucks on a ring light, or I'm going to go spend 20 bucks on that mic. Well, I have one of those mics that plugs into my phone. It's amazing. I love it when I'm out walking
Dan,
around and doing those things.
Dan had a question in the chat. They're not big. They're like the size of a
Let me see if
nickel,
I can
and
find.
they just magnet onto your lapel. They're super inconspicuous. Like you don't have to worry about that. Uh but
I
the
can't find it. Sorry.
I really like Elgato. I use a lot of their products,
Hmm.
Elgato. They have a really cool because I travel a lot, Kevin,
Yeah.
and sometimes I have to jump on stuff like this or film a video. I just throw in my bag the little white light. It's not a ring light. I don't actually recommend ring lights. Sorry, I don't know if you do, because
No,
people
that's
that wear
fine.
glasses, it puts the circles on your eyes.
Hmm.
So you want like a flat light, and Elgato has this really cool portable one. It's like this big. It's in my other office, and you can just throw it in your briefcase and attach it to a laptop screen, and you have great light wherever you're at. So that's
Yeah.
probably like the next thing I would recommend.
Yeah, I think those are
No
great
problem,
places
Dan.
to start. Don't go spend $300 on a new camera.
No.
It's not going to make the
Mm-mm.
difference that you want it to make, and people don't care. Lighting, sound are can be really important things. So if you're looking for those quick, easy upgrades, those are great things to look at. Yeah. So
Yep.
let's kind of take that and jump into it. I wanted to touch on it because I have learned I used to avoid a lot of the technical conversations of things because I felt it like it added more complication for people. But I've also learned that if you don't think you look good on a video, you ain't sending that video. Like, we're not going to send videos where we think we look like garbage. So it's okay to use some of those technical pieces to kind of help you feel more confident. I say use those to build your confidence up. Here, I can even show you an example. Like, if I turn off my light in front of me, this is how I look. You can still see me, but man, I do not feel like I look nearly as good. I'm getting the shadows, I'm getting those pieces versus, oh, that guy looks a little healthier. He looks a little more alive, right? So I just don't have a window in front of me. That's just where I'm set up. So that's where those tools I think can really come into play. So we already mentioned, I know we've got about 9 minutes left, so I want to kind of spend the rest of the time talking about some of these things. You mentioned the acne patch can be a conversation starter, the be real element. We've really been talking about this a ton. Um, we've been talking about connection and authenticity. Why do you think this part of it is so important? From data, from marketing, from those pieces, why do you think the being real is so much more effective?
It just is. The data supports it. As I mentioned, right? I test 1,000 ads a year. I see it in the data every day. Look at your metadata if you're posting on social. The ad, like, okay, I had this debate with one of my CEOs this morning about UGC content, user generated content. See
Okay.
how I did that?
Thank you, because I was going, oh crap.
Right? User generated content versus promo messaging. Like, there's a sale, whatever, right? So you have two ads, you put them on Meta. Which one do you think is going to, right now, for let's say retail, because I'm focused on retail marketing, which one's going to perform better?
I mean, I would immediately get user
UGC.
generated. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And there's so much shit. Go look it up, Google it. There's tons of reports. We see it in our data, right? Because it's more authentic. So I was explaining to my CEO, I said, listen, I think we need to move away from promo messaging on Meta for paid Meta, not just organic, right? For Instagram and Facebook, and use UGC content on Meta for paid to tell our story. Because all
Mm,
these polished TV ads and radio, they're very polished, and they hook people to like pay attention to our brand. But the next stage, right, is, well, why you? And that's where that more authentic conversation, like, oh, well, we deliver next day, and we're going to haul away your old stuff. And
yeah,
we have a guarantee, a price match guarantee, and where you can have a more conversation about that
yeah,
more authentically, right? That conversational approach, you're scrolling on Instagram, right? And then you see there's a sale at whatever place, right? You're just psh. But if it's a person going like, "Hey, I just went to this place and I got this great thing and they delivered to me the next day, which I thought was crazy. Check it out. It looks so good in my room." Right?
yeah,
You're going to, "Oh, what is that?" You're going to stop. And the
yeah.
data supports it. Look at the data.
Well, it's interesting. I put a couple of studies up here as well, and not to just like get lost in this stuff, but I thought it was fascinating because one of these is back from 1966. This is not new. This is stuff that obviously has been going on forever. The pratfall effect is talking about how we find people more likable and relatable when they show small imperfections, as long as they're generally competent, as long as we want them to be real, right? That the Harvard Business Review, the authenticity increases trust piece is so interesting. The Edelman Trust Barometer, people trust people like themselves. We want to find that connection, that reality. I think so often, we look at movie stars as what we should be to some degree. We put people on pedestals of how we should look, how we should act. You and I, Nicole, were joking about this a little bit of when's the last time you watched like a news anchor on the 5 o'clock news? And we're like, man, I want to go grab a drink with that person. They look all,
Never.
and they've got
Never.
everything polished. They've got the script, the lighting, the makeup, the outfit, the clothes. Everything is as controlled as it can possibly be. And we don't feel related to those people. We don't feel like we're connecting with them. So I
But
think I
that's
really
but
say
the
no. Go
problem is
ahead.
that's what we see every day, right? And
Mm,
so there's this like perception that I need to look like Jimmy Kimmel or Kelly Ripa, and it's like actually no, right? Just be yourself
yeah.
and be more authentic. I had a thought in my head as an example. Oh, I have an employee. I'm not going to say her name. She's
Okay.
awesome. But she came from a news background, right? In the very beginning of working with her, she was so perfect. And I'm like, you need, like, I want to shake you. Like, just drop the script, drop the PowerPoint, and just look at it, just tell me. Like, I'm at a party. How would you explain it to me? And
Mm,
when I coach people, spokespeople on camera, like one of the things we'll do is like, I need you to walk away from this space. Just shake it off, right?
yeah.
Stand up. Don't look at the camera. Just say it to me. Explain it to me. Now I want you to do it again. And we have all these techniques we use with spokespeople to help them do that.
Mm,
And it's cut the crap, right? Stop the whole perfect. It's you're not a news anchor.
yeah. And we don't want you to be. Nobody wants you to be.
No.
So this like strive to be and be professional or whatever is not actually what's effective. Or so a great way that I talk with people all the time is who's somebody you love and care about? Just talk to them, right? Who's your spouse, your kids, or your mom or family? Pick somebody that you love and send the video to them in your mind. Picture them, talk to them. You're going to smile more. You're going to find a lot of those things that are really you when you're thinking about the people. And I put this up here from a buying proof standpoint. It's fascinating to understand that even when we're looking at buying and purchasing things, we don't want perfect. There's studies that you may have already read already that like people are more likely to buy something that's between 4.2 and 4.5 stars than 5 stars because we don't believe it. We immediately are like, is that real? Is that fake? I'm not sure. So know that people's buying proof is also showing that this is what we live by. These are the rules that we live by. The last thing that I want to talk about from an authenticity standpoint, and then of course, we can continue to expand as needed, is I've started doing a little bit more research, and I'm just going to pull this up there so that you can look at this. They've been doing research on emotional frequencies within humans. We've always assumed that the highest emotional frequencies come from love. That love is the most powerful feeling, it's the most powerful connective element. When they started doing studies on people and asking them these questions and watching the waves that we give off from an emotional standpoint, they're actually finding that authenticity is a much more connective, powerful uh frequency than even love, up to even more than 400 times. I've heard kind of some varying numbers on it, but that's pretty crazy when we can see that somebody is authentically being themselves and they believe what they're saying and that they're being authentic, and we can tell that. It is one of the most powerful things that you can possibly convey. So I had a quote on the slide or two ago from Catherine Finney, who's an amazing speaker, of just the easiest thing to be is yourself. If you're sitting there feeling uncomfortable, understand that you are what people want to see. I can throw a rock and hit a realtor in Colorado Springs. If you're a realtor sitting here watching this right now, I can find anybody I want to. Why am I going to pick you? Because it's you, because you are different than anybody else. No one can replicate that. No one can fake that. And I want to see and feel that from the people. And video is an amazing way to convey that. Now, I know it doesn't erase our insecurities. I know it doesn't erase the vulnerabilities and the things that we don't necessarily love about ourselves. I mean, this is one I point to all the time. I'm hitting 40 this year, and this is going the wrong way. And it makes you
Well,
really self-conscious, right?
can I tell my Amy story? Remember, I told
Yes,
this to
please,
you,
please,
Paul,
please.
really quick because I know we're
Yeah.
running out of time. But she's a 55-year-old woman, and she's in sales, and she works in the media industry. And we're coaching her, and she's like, "I'm not doing that." And I said, "Amy, what if I told you that you have a 3 times more likelihood to receive a response using this tactic than anything you've done in the past? Would you be open to at least trying it?"
Hmm.
She's like, "I'll try it, but whatever. Nobody wants to see a 55-year-old woman on camera." Okay, so she sends this video email, and I coached her on it to make her help her feel comfortable, to an auto group, the largest auto group in her area. She had been trying to prospect this client for 2 years flat, right?
Okay.
Never got a response. Every month she emails him, calls, stops by, donuts, the whole thing, right? Sends a video, gets a response in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Gets a meeting, Kevin. I am not blowing smoke. secures 100% share of the business for 12 months. Now,
Hmm.
I can't say the video was the only reason she got it. She's obviously a good salesperson. She comes running back to me. Oh my God, Nicole, it worked. I got the meeting. I said, see, put yourself out there. You're wrong that people don't want to see a 55-year-old woman. You have experience, you have value, you have something to offer. Own it, girl. Own it.
I think that's
Pretty
an
cool.
amazing message for all of us to hear, right? We're always our own worst critic. We're going to judge ourselves way harder. I bet none of you even noticed any of this. And if you did, probably didn't care
It's
for 4 seconds,
character.
right? Like
Yeah,
it's just part of who I am.
you're
So
you're
I'm not
there and
saying that
mine's
to
it.
like, yeah, like it's we're all human, right? And so I hope you all hear what Nicole said of like you have value, own it. And it's okay that our value is not perfect and that we're human and that we have those pieces. So I want to jump and kind of give key takeaways, do some things, and then I'm totally going to stick around for a few more minutes to answer the questions that have come in because we've got some good stuff. But here's the things I really want you to walk away with. One, people retain and learn a heck of a lot more from video. That is, it helps with the cognitive load theory, the CLT. It helps us learn more effectively. Two, it's more efficient and it's great for leading. You will be more effective. We can speak so much quicker and people will retain a lot more. So if you're thinking about use it from a teaching engagement internal standpoint, know that. Last but not least, the authenticity rules. There is an element of this. You're gonna have to practice. You may not ever feel amazing about recording videos, and that's okay. Guess what? I don't feel amazing about going to the gym, hardly ever. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun for me. Does that mean I never go again? Sometimes, to be honest, but I want to keep going back. I want to continue to better. So just know that the value that you have is what people need to see. And that's all you have to get across on the video itself. Don't try to be anything you're not. Don't try to hide stuff. Just be who you are at your core. Nicole just shared her LinkedIn. Please go connect with her. I jumped onto one of her LinkedIn lives. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Super cool stuff. She's sending out just really great information, and you can learn from her just kind of over and over and over. If you're somebody, and we've had a handful of these questions that has been like, man, I just need to know how to get started. I need to know how to use the basics. Here's some amazing resources that you can use from a BombBomb perspective. Now, of course, I work at BombBomb. This is a BombBomb webinar. If you use BombBomb, great. We love that. More than anything, I want you to walk away understanding video's power than it is what BombBomb can do for you. But if you are a BombBomb user, training.bombbomb.com is online courses where you can go take the course at your own time. You will have to create a login and password, but you can jump in and learn about feature stuff, strategies, whatever it is. The knowledge base is going to be more support articles of how do I do this? We've got screenshots, we've got videos, we've got over 250 articles in there that you can learn from. So again, just another way to go search for what you need. And then we've got an amazing support team. They've got a killer customer satisfaction rating. They're amazing. Send them an email if you're struggling with something. Do not struggle alone. It can feel very isolating. It can feel very alone when something's hard and when it's something you're not comfortable with. Let us help. We are here for
And
any of
search,
that.
I got to say, search the blogs. I learn a lot from the blogs.
Love that. Yes, absolutely. And so just go to our website. You can look up all sorts of resources on there. These are some that I have found to be really helpful for me as I've been going on this journey as well. And if you need one-on-one help, send me an email. Training@bombbomb.com comes directly to me. I would love to help you through whatever you need, answer whatever questions you need.
Just
Because we want to
remember,
do for that.
imperfect action is better than no action, right?
Yes, there you go.
Just do
Remember
it.
that. Just do it. All right. If you need to jump off, if you need to leave, please go do that. I know we're 3 minutes past. I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes just to double check the questions and things.
Can I
Thank you
hang
for
out
being
too?
here. Yes, I mean, I don't want to put that on you, but and actually we've got a good question that I want to lead. If some, I guarantee more people have been curious than just the person that asked this. But if you need to jump off, we appreciate you so deeply. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for letting us be a part of the journey with you. We'll send you the recording. We will send you some follow-ups with the slides and things as well. But thank you for being here if you've got to jump off. All right, first question I want to jump to. We had a question from somebody that goes, I've got to know about Nicole's glasses. Obviously, there's a
Uh,
consistency between the red glasses and the glasses in the picture behind and the headphones and the coat. I know there's not one person. I know the story. Tell us a little bit about why that's become a kind of a trademark for you.
Oh, yeah. So if you go to my website, growwithelevate.com, and you find the red glasses, which Kevin did, and you hover over them, if you click, there's a secret video that tells you the whole story. But I'll give it to you in a nutshell. My grandmother, may she rest in peace, was such an amazing influence on me as a girl growing up. And she always used to tell me, Nikki Lou Louise, my middle name is Louise, brunettes look best in red. And she always wore red lipstick, and she was just such an amazing force of kindness. And she used to say to me when I was a kid, Kevin, the world will roll out the red carpet for you if you kill it with kindness. And it's
Mm.
something I've always lived by, that, the janitor, the person at the airport that opens the door for you, the Uber driver, the people want to connect with kind people, and it goes a long way for you. So that right when she passed away, I a couple days later, I was in a shop that had some red, I was looking at some glasses, and this lady walked up to me and she's like, what would really look good on you are these red glasses. And she had just passed away like 3 days before, so it was
Oh,
like the
geez.
the universe, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know, that's so bold, I don't know if I could do it. And I just remember my grandma said, Nicole, brunettes look best in red. So in marketing, as we know, once you start to be known for something, right? I started wearing and people would recognize me. And then it just kind of, then I got the donkey and the owl and the jacket. And it just kind of, now I got 3 pairs of red glasses. And so
Now
there
it's
you
just
go. That's
snowballed
the,
from there.
that's the,
Yeah.
this snowballed.
Well, it's funny, we were talking about how you and I had seen videos and had some interactions with you years and years and years ago. And I was going back through old like response videos and stuff and found one of your videos and was like, the glasses with the immediate thing of like, I know I've seen her before. I know I've talked to her before. And it had been 4 or 5 years at this point. So
Yeah. Some
it's
people
working.
don't even know
Memorable.
my name. Some people don't even know my name. They're like the lady with the red glasses, which is why my hashtag is lady with the red glasses. That's a lot of time people just refer to me as that. I'm like, that's fine.
That's so funny. I love it. One other question we've got in the Q&A, and then if you've got anything else, throw it in chat, throw it in the Q&A. We still got a bunch of people in here, but I did get a question from somebody asking about how do I use my phone to kind of make the sign that says hi at the beginning of the videos, because that was in
Oh,
one of the GIFs there. So I do want to talk through that real fast here. There's different apps. I am not getting paid by these apps. They're just ones that I've used. So there's a lot of different ones that can do this. But one of the ones, if you've got an iPhone, is big. I know that's really blurry, but it's just a black box that says big. What this allows you to do is just come in and type anything you want. And then when you turn it sideways and get rid of the keyboard, you can just hold that up. So you can put a person's name, you can personalize it. Yep, she's got it right there. So the power of visually personalizing a one-to-one video is massively impactful in getting you video plays. I promise. If they see
you know which
before they
one?
click play, I gotta watch this, it's for me, the curiosity is going to really increase that. What were you going to add to that, Nicole?
I like the little whiteboard. I know you
Do
guys
you
are
do you still use the whiteboard a lot?
I have it right here. And what I like about the whiteboard is the back of it, I have one of these little poppets, like you put on
Oh yeah,
phones.
yeah.
And so you can hold it like this. And I learned this from you guys a while ago because you can draw things. So
That's true.
instead of just the Hey Daniels text like this, right? You could just be like, Hi, Kevin. And I could draw a little Kevin. And like, I get a lot of comments on that when I go like this. I'm like, Hey, Kevin. And then I put it down and then I use my hands to finish the video.
Yeah,
I don't know, just because it's like my handwriting and a little drawing and like
sure.
it gets a lot of comments. So it's a
Yeah,
little old school, but I like the old whiteboard
I love
strategy.
it. I think it really plays to the point is not like the exact way that you're doing it. It's that we're doing another element for them to visually see and connect and understand, oh, this is for me to connect more. And whether that's with a picture, a whiteboard, I've used sticky notes with a little pen because that's all I happen to have right there and just be like, Nicole, hey, I just wanted you to know I'm recording this video for you to answer the questions that you had. That is a massive thing. I know we've had questions about open rates and some of those things. That will increase your video play rates massively. Now, Nicole, to your point from how you use it, you're not going to sit here for your whole video just holding this like this. That would feel real goofy, right? So it's only for that
Like
animated preview at the
anchor man, like what do I do with my
yeah,
hands?
yeah. What do I do with my hand? So it's literally just, hey, Nicole, it's Kevin here. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for helping me with X, Y, and Z. I mean, this is literally a video I'm going to send after this webinar to thank her for her time. But then you put it down. You only have to hold it up for those first few seconds, and then you can put it down and just kind of be more natural. So
And I have to say, though, on this point, I think the reason why the open rates are higher, and because I get this question a lot from people, they're like, well, can I just do a generic video and send it to six people? I'm like, the answer is no. Sorry. I know you want to do that because you think it's efficient, but it is the fact that it says, hey, Kevin, right? That
Yep.
I'm more likely to click on it because that's my name. Like
Yeah.
they took the time to do this personally for me. The least I can do is click on it and listen to what they have to say.
Hmm. Yep. A personal
So
video, a one-to-one video will always get you better responses.
always,
I've seen what
always.
we call evergreen videos, which is a video that can work for more than one person. I've seen them be effective, so I'm not going to say there's no way to use them, but it will always be more effective if I'm recording a video just for Nicole. So, um, I'd be interested to hear this from you. There's a question about open rates. How do you get past the hesitation for opening in this security risk era? I mean, I think a lot of that is subject line. What are we putting in subject lines? How are we building their confidence to feel like this is not just another spam junk email that's, in our inbox? But you're the marketing expert here, Nicole. What do you kind of recommend as far as helping people
So
with that?
when I teach sequencing or when I have taught it for like sellers and marketers, I never recommend video as the first touch point. I don't know if
Interesting.
that's
Okay.
against I don't know if that's against what you guys teach, but
No, I'd love to hear.
because if you haven't warmed up the domain, if the domain isn't warm to your URL, it will a lot of times flag it as spam. So it
Hmm,
kind of depends on your domain, like who you're calling or where you're emailing from. If you're a small business like Elevate, we're a small company, we're not going to have like high domain authority. But if
sure.
I was sending
Sure.
an email from Paramount, the media conglomerate, right? They're going to have high site ranking and authority. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be okay. So I think it just kind of depends on, and there are tools, by the way. Like I have people on my team that know this better than me. There's tools to like figure out, like how to warm up domains and stuff like that with sales sequencing. But I would say I usually try to call my sequence is like call first to warm them up with my voice and then email or DM via LinkedIn and then video
Sure.
email or something like
Sure.
that. But then once you get to video email, you're absolutely right on the subject line has to be baller. And that changes from, I swear, every couple of months. Like for a while there, we were like, emojis are it. And it's like, not, no more emojis,
Yep.
like it keeps changing, right? Cause
Yeah.
then, or like the all lowercase, like my trick is I go regarding RE and then the semicolon and then VM voicemail.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they think it's like a reply to, and but that worked for a while, but lately that's not working so much because
Oh man,
people have
I
caught
hate
on to
those. I'm
that,
not gonna lie. I see that
right?
every time and I'm like, I don't know who
And
you
like,
are. Get out of here.
yep. So like people have caught on to that, so it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
But the next thing I would say is sandwiching. So I've done a little
Mm,
bit of research on this. I call it sandwiching. So you're like, hey Kevin, quick personal message for you. I promise it's not spam. Click to play. And I always hyperlink the word like click here or below to play because they might be afraid to click on the GIF or
sure.
on the link. So I just provide both options. And then
Oh, that's
under it,
interesting. Okay.
yeah. And then under it, I sandwich it with bullet points like, you know, thought, something about something in the video and how does next Tuesday sound? Or let me
Yeah.
know your thoughts and like end with a question. So I've got it sandwiched between the hello, personal message, promise is not spam, GIF, and then close like two bullet points and then interested, thoughts,
Yeah.
curious, let me, something like that. And then I love the
Totally.
PS. Have you ever taken
Ooh.
any of those? Do you know about the PS trick?
I don't know that I've ever used the PS trick. Give it to who's here. See if you
Okay.
stuck around. Now you're getting the good stuff. Yeah.
So I actually picked this up from my friends at Lavender AI. I don't know if you know that tool, but it's an email writing tool.
Okay.
And the PS, if you put a PS and then something human at the end of your email, you have a 23% improved response rate. So you'll notice I've done this to you. I'll be like, PS, are you going for the Swifties or the whoever's in the Super Bowl this weekend? Question mark. Or PS, where's your spring break destination? I'm going to Hawaii. So it has to be something like personalized so that
Yeah.
it shows the person on the other side that you're not a bot or you're not an AI writing it.
Hmm.
It's a
Okay.
real person. So the PS is something human. So it'll be like, hey, quick
That's
personal message
fun.
for you, GIF. bullet points, closing, thoughts, question mark, P.S. Who are you reading for in the final four? I'm going for Duke.
It
Go
shows that it's
Devils.
timely too, right? This was not pre-written. It was not like a part of a sequence that I wrote 6 months ago. Yeah. I think that's awesome. All right. Well, now I got something to play with. See, we're learning. We're learning all the time. It's good. Yeah, I'll absolutely reiterate. The sandwiching piece you're talking about, I call it text wrapping. You
Mm.
never are just sending a video. There's always text above and text below. That's going to help a lot with algorithms getting through spam filters, a lot of those things. And Karen, I
Oh,
actually
one
just saw
more.
too. Yeah, and then I'll jump to you. The word video in a subject line is really, really impactful too. If you've got a video in your message, put the word video in the subject line. Tell them that there is a video there. We saw A/B testing on that, an 8% open rate increase, exact same subject line, just with the word video and without, and it massively
What
increased.
would be like, what would it be example of the subject line?
So what I do, my go-to is I start every subject line with the word video in parentheses. I do it in parentheses, and Karen, it looks like you put yours in like brackets, just because I think visually when I'm thinking of an inbox, I'm like, what feels more noticeable? What's gonna like stand out a little bit? So I put the word video, then I personalize with their first name if it's a one-to-one, and then I'll put the subject line, the curiosity, whatever I'm trying to do to get them to open it afterwards.
Like, give me an example. So
So
video
like
parentheses what?
So like video in parentheses, then it would be your name, Nicole, and then it'd be like, thanks so much for your help on the webinar today. Or
That whole thing
I
is in
have
the
a
subject
question
line?
for you. Yeah.
Hmm.
Usually I'll try to keep that sentence part as short as I can, right? My general rule of thumb is it's got to be under 10 words, like 7, 8 words is kind of the sweet spot of a subject line for me. But I found that the video and the name, from what I've noticed, and this is based on no research other than just me sending emails, has been really impactful to those are the important pieces for them to know there's a video and know it's for them. I
Huh.
have also felt too, and I'd be interested if you have data on this, of I never put full name. I never put Nicole
Never.
Bergen because it just immediately feels like auto-populate to me. So it's
And
always a first
please,
name thing.
please do not say, I hope this message finds you well. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says that as an absolute no-no is such a clear sign that ChatGPT wrote the email. Do not do it.
Yeah, that's funny.
All
Well, there
right.
you go. So we're already 15 over. So let's call it there. I think we've answered pretty much everything. Nicole, thank you so much. Thank you for your
My
time,
pleasure.
your expertise, your stories, your energy. We definitely couldn't have covered this topic without you and everything you brought to it. So, man, I really, really appreciate you being a part of this and teaching me some stuff in the process because I
Yeah.
learned a whole bunch of new stuff.
My
So,
my
thank
pleasure.
you.
It's always fun hanging out with you. Just jump on the video train if you're not already. Just freaking do it.
Just do it.
Imperfect action is better than no
There
action.
we
And
go.
humanize some connections with the people you do business with. That's
Yep.
that. Have a
No
good one,
better way to
everybody.
finish than on that line. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Thanks for sticking around. We appreciate you. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.